the X-Freedom to kick off this season. And Chuck McRoy will tip things off here as the South Florida Gold. You heard in the pregame introductions, starting tonight, Chuck McRoy, Kenny Holmes, Dennis Rumpf, Chris Cromartie, and Chris Colvin. As that ball goes out of bounds, and it will go to the X-Freedom. Once again, Rumpf, McRoy, Cromartie starting in there, along with Taven Cummings. And there's a rebound by Dennis Rumpf. Here we go, brings up the floor, Kenny Holmes. Swings it around, Chuck McRoy. Finds a man, Cromartie on the perimeter. Down there in the corner, that's number 32, Taven Cummings. And he knocks down the double. Taven Cummings' first bucket of the game, the first bucket of the 2018-2019 season for the Gold, who of course finished last year with an 18-4 record, third in the playoffs. And they certainly have revenge on their mind this year as that ball goes out of bounds. And the inbound there by the Freedom. There's a 3-ball, and that's off the mark by Carl Bryant Jr., and here we go the other way. The South Florida Gold pushing it right now. That's going to be Kenny Holmes. That's off the mark, tipped around, and into the hands of X-Freedom. Horace Smith has it, crosses the timeline, drops it there in the baseline. Chuck McRoy tries to seal off the base, and McRoy grabs the defensive rebound, and here we go the other way. Cromartie dishes it off, the layup no good for Holmes, and we're going back the other direction. 2-0 Gold, 10:18 on the clock in quarter number 1. Carl Bryant Jr. for 3. That's off the mark and rebounded by Dennis Rumpf. Here we go now. Taven Cummings, the 6'6 forward out of Memphis, Tennessee. His first appearance here with the South Florida Gold. Chuck McRoy from way downtown. That's off the mark and rebounded by the X-Freedom in the hands of Gary Bryant. Now Carl Bryant Jr. tries to go the other way. Dribbles into traffic. Down low right there on the baseline's Rashad Miller. Kicks it back out to Carl Bryant Jr. The floater can't get it to go. And here comes Cromartie. The Gold have numbers. Cromartie tries the bounce pass and turns it over. Some sloppy play here in the opening minutes as the Gold holding on to a 2-0 lead. 2.5 minutes into this ball game. Goes for the steal right there. Does Kenny Holmes, can't get it to go. Carl Bryant tries to dump it off, ends up going into the hands of the Freedom. The steal attempt by Taven Cummings off the mark, and we stay right here. As the X-Freedom now try to get it going on the offensive end. And for the first time in this ball game, they get a bucket, and it's going to be Devontae Birdsong as he scores the first basket of the season for the X-Freedom, and we are tied at 2, under 9 minutes to go. Coach J.R. Gamble, his first season here with the South Florida Gold, looking to turn the corner after last season. The 3-ball off the mark by Holmes, rebounded into the hands of Gary Bryant. Here comes the X-Freedom. They cross the timeline. Carl Bryant now tries to slow things up. Man-to-man defense applied right now by the South Florida Gold. Swings it around, tries the dribble drive, and that's going to be bumped by Kenny Holmes. That will be his first. Team's first. So the first foul of the season will be a bump by Kenny Holmes, the 5'10 guard out of Decatur, Georgia. Dribbles baseline, and that's a steal. Nicely done right there by Taven Cummings. Cummings, the lob. Down low is Holmes, and Holmes will get it. Kenny Holmes' first basket as a member of the South Florida Gold, and the lead is 2. 8:11 on the game clock. X-Freedom now. Try to get something going on the offensive end. Dumped off right there for Horace Smith. Gets into some trouble right there. There's the floater. And Devontae Birdsong has both baskets right now as we are tied back at 4. Cromartie with the crossover dribble goes baseline. Goes up strong, and he will be fouled. And that'll be the first foul against Gary Bryant. First team foul, and now Chris Cromartie steps to the line for 2. Cromartie makes the first. And a substitution here for the ex-Freedom as Gary Trump comes into the ball game for the first time. And Cromartie knocks them both down. So his first points of the season, and the Gold extend their lead to 2. Horace Smith as the Gold flashing. A little bit of a trap here at the half court. Chuck McRoy playing some nice defense right there. Gets his hand on the basketball. Chris Cromartie comes away with the steal. Here comes the South Florida Gold. Cromartie with the dribble drive. He takes it up strong. Can't get it to go. Dennis Rumpf the offensive rebound. Rumpf goes up. That's knocked away. Into the hands of Horace Smith. He dumps it off to Carl Bryant Jr. Back to Horace Smith. Smith tries the dribble drive, and that's stolen by Dennis Rumpf. Into the hands of Chuck McRoy. Up to Chris Cromartie. Nice pass attempt by Cromartie. That's going to be turned over, tipped around by McRoy. As we're at a breakneck pace right now. And the bump right there, it looks like it's going to go against Taven Cummings. That will be his first, team second. And at the line for 2 will be Devontae Birdsong, who has all the points right now for the ex-Freedom. Birdsong knocks them both down, and we are tied at 6-7 minutes on the clock here in quarter number 1, the first game of the 2018-2019 ABA schedule for the South Florida Gold, one of the top teams here in the Southeast, of course, along with Jacksonville, competing for that championship. Cromartie off the mark, and the rebound attempt can't be corralled there by Holmes, and that's going to be pulled down by Carl Bryant Jr., and a lay-in there by Devontae Birdsong. He now has 8, and for the first time, the ex-Freedom has the lead. 2-3 zone flash right now by the ex-Freedom. The lefty tries the attempt, and from way downtown, Taven Cummings knocks down the triple. He has 5, and the lead is now up to 1 for the Gold. The dribble drive attempt right there by Gary Bryant. That's knocked away into the hands of McRoy. They've got numbers. Throw it down, Taven Cummings. The left-hander cocks it back and throws it down. He has a quick 7. Pacing the South Florida Gold right now as we tick under the halfway point of this first quarter. As Carl Bryant shuffles his feet, travels, and we've got a turnover going the other way. That light is on. You can't sub yet. As Chris Cromartie now crosses the timeline. 5:45 on the game clock here in quarter number 1. And there's a deep one for 3. And Kenny Holmes from way downtown. And the lead is up to 6. That was actually the 4-point light was on there off that turnover. And that one's off the mark into the hands of Dennis Rumpf. Chris Cromartie has it crosses the timeline. Here come the Gold. Dumps it off. Kenny Holmes for 3. Way downtown. Bang! And Kenny Holmes knocks down the triple. And the ex-Freedom wants a timeout. 5:09 on the clock. The South Florida Gold on a 9-0 run right now. 17-8 lead, paced by Kenny Holmes and his 9 points.
Once they get the ball. Once they get the ball. No, after the basket, no. After the basket's fine. When you pass the ball and somebody get inside, it's a
So the Gold with a full roster of 14, dressing 13 here tonight. Once again, 5:09 to go here in quarter number 1. The South Florida Gold have a very big schedule coming up here, a handful of games in the 2018 portion, and then, of course, the meat of the schedule into the new year. As once again, we are joining you here live in Lake Worth, Florida at Trinity Christian Academy, as you're watching live on the South Florida Gold YouTube channel. And I am Blake Chadwick, and I'll be calling the action all season long for the South Florida Gold. So it's ex-Freedom ball, the inbound here to Devontae Birdsong, who has all 8 of the points thus far. He's going to be trapped at half court. Steal attempt by Cromartie, can't get it to go. Carl Bryant Jr. pulls up for 2. That's off the mark. Offensive rebound by Birdsong. He tries to go back up strong off the mark, and McRoy's got it. Here we go the other way. Cummings crosses the timeline. Back to McRoy. Finds Cromartie in the corner. And the turnover going the other way, and it's the X-Freedom's ball with 4:45 on the clock. One, 2-2, full court pressure right here for the South Florida Gold. Chuck McRoy up front. Kenny Holmes and Taven Cummings, or rather Kenny Holmes and Chris Cromartie at half court, and Taven Cummings and Dennis Rumpf in the backcourt. And that's a 7-second violation. A turnover right there. We're going back the other way. The 3D light is on. The Gold are going to try to capitalize. Cromartie back to Holmes. Holmes, the dribble drive, the layup, and that is good for 3. One of those ABA unique rules you see right here on full display. That one's off the mark. Into the hands of Cromartie. Cromartie dumps it up there to Holmes. Tries the little floater, can't get it to go. And Carl Bryant Sr. is going to pull it down. Back out to Cromartie, to McRoy. Didn't find him in the triple threat position, but finds Kenny Holmes for 3. And Kenny Holmes starting to heat up as he has 15 points here in the first quarter. And here we go in the corner, Greg Trop. Trying to get it going. He's trapped now. And here we go, Holmes. The numbers game. Tevin Cummings. And he throws it down. And the lead is extended now to 27-8. The 3D light is on, and the layup for Kenny Holmes is good. Another 3D light. And a 30-second timeout called by the X-Freedom as this one's starting to slip out of their grasp. 3:21 on the clock, 28-20, South Florida Gold. As that 30-second timeout is quickly put to rest, as the Gold enjoying a 20-point lead here. And it's the X-Freedom's ball here. They cross the timeline, and that's going to be stolen as James Evans checks in for the first time. He's going the other way. And we have a substitution right now for the South Florida Gold. Number 3, Raj Orlando will come in for Chris Cromartie. So Raja Orlando along with James Evans checking in for the first time, as well as Matthew Roll, the 6'7" forward from Miami Gardens, Florida. And the shot by Holmes off the mark. And the rebound here by the X-Freedom. As you see for the first time in this game, Trayvon Telford. And there's a travel. And it's South Florida Gold ball here, 2:50 on the clock in quarter number 1. As Raja Orlando, along with Taven Cummings. And he's going to find Kenny Holmes there in the corner. Holmes pulls it in, and from about 15 feet, Kenny Holmes knocks down the deuce. Horace Smith. Nice pressure defense here by Orlando. Finds the man in the corner. That's going to be Telford. Off the mark, James Evans with the rebound. Here we go, Kenny Holmes the other way. He finds the man in Cummings. That's off the mark, and that's going to go out of bounds.
Hey, get back.
And that will be X-Freedom basketball. As we're approaching the 2-minute mark here of quarter number 1. As Carl Bryant Jr. crosses the timeline, the dribble drive takes it in. And he's bumped before the shot. And that's going to be the second foul on Taven Cummings. Team's third. As Patrick Brown Voltapetti will check in for the first time this season. Coming in for Taven Cummings, who's in a bit of foul trouble here in the opening frame. And Greg Trop comes out of the game. And checking in there for the X-Freedom. Will be number 19, Rashad Miller. That ball's tipped around, James Evans thought he had it, and it's knocked out of bounds. And it's X-Freedom ball here underneath the South Florida Gold basket. 100 seconds to go here in quarter number 1. Carl Bryant Sr. has it, and he loses control. And it's Gold basketball now. Raja Orlando crosses the timeline, 90 seconds to go. Picks up his dribble as the X-Freedom appears to be in a zone. Off the mark right there for James Evans, and the rebound goes the other way. Carl Bryant Jr. has the ball in his hands from way downtown. That's off the mark, and James Evans pulls down the rebound. The Starkville, Mississippi native has it, going the other way. Give and go with Kenny Holmes. Back in the hands of James Evans. He tries to go up strong, and he will travel. 22-point lead here for the South Florida Gold. Just a little over a minute to go. As Chris Cromartie looks to check in at the next dead ball, as we are under 1 minute to go here in quarter number 1. The dribble drive there by Horace Smith. That's off the mark into the hands of Matthew Roll, and here we go. Raja Orlando up to James Evans and down as his first bucket of the season. The Gold are now up 24, 45 seconds to go here in the first. Brown Volta-Petty tries to pressure defense at the top of the key. Matthew Roll with the help side D. And it's a foul going the other way. I believe that's going to be on Horace Smith. His first, team second. And Roll goes up strong, and Matthew Roll with the continuation. As the foul will be on Carl Bryant Sr. His first, team's third, 28.5 seconds to go. And Roll looks to complete the three-point play, and he will. So the lead is 27, 23 seconds to go. Carl Bryant Sr. tries to pass, nice give and go. And the bucket is good for Rashad Miller, his first of the game, and we're in double digits for the first time now. For the X-Freedom. There's the shot in the corner. Raja Orlando for three. Way downtown, bang. And Orlando knocks it down. The heave at the end of the quarter is no good. At the completion of quarter number 1, the South Florida Gold 38, the X-Freedom 10. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with second quarter action. You are watching South Florida Gold ABA basketball right here on YouTube.
Watch my.
And we are back here in Trinity Christian Academy in Lake Worth, Florida. Second quarter action. A little bit of a clock mishap right there. And it's out of bounds. South Florida Gold basketball, 38-20, enjoying a big-time lead there, paced by Kenny Holmes in that first half. As Kenny Holmes with 20 points, leading the way in that first quarter. As here we go, Carl Bryant Jr. from way downtown. That's off the mark. And it will go out of bounds right now. The 5 on the court for the South Florida Gold. Matthew Roll, Chris Cromartie, Kenny Holmes, James Evans, and Patrick Brown Voltapetti. Coach Gamble looking deep into his bench right now, looking for that depth. Matthew Roll for 3. That's off the mark as the stretch big tries to knock down the jumper. His addition to the team this year will be very crucial as the season wears on. As the ex-Freedom across the timeline here, Carl Bryant Jr. has it at the top of the key, tries to find the man in the high post. There from the free throw line extended, the shot is short into the hands of Matthew Roll, and here we go the other way. Raja Orlando dumps it off to Chris Cromartie. Up and under for Matthew Roll, can't get it to go. James Evans the offensive rebound. Very athletic, but can't finish. And that's going to be on Rashad Miller, his first, team's first. The inbound there to James Evans. He goes up strong, and he'll be bumped there. And that will be on Gary Bryant, his second, team second. 2 quick fouls here for the ex-Freedom in the second quarter. Less than 90 seconds in. As James Evans steps to the charity stripe for 2. The first one is good by James Evans. And Evans knocks down the second. 30-point lead right here for the South Florida Gold. As in the game right now, the up and under can't get it to go as Cromartie gets the rebound. Chris Cromartie, he crossed the timeline, dumps it off. Patrick Brown Voltapetti from way downtown. That's in and out. James Evans, the offensive rebound. And it looks like we have a foul on the floor. And it will be on number 3, Carl Bryant Jr. That's his first, team's third. And for the first time this season, number 1, Brandon Ambrosini, the Miami, Florida native. As with 10:15 to go in the second quarter, Coach J.R. Gamble not happy with what he's seeing from the South Florida Gold, and they're going to call a 30-second timeout. As we are back here, as James Evans catches him napping off the inbound with a great pass by Raja Orlando. Extending the lead now to 32. And the ex-Freedom now with the dribble drive attempt. There's the jump shot by Gary Bryant. He's bumped. And that will be a foul against number 1, Brandon Ambrosini, the 5'10 guard out of Miami, Florida. Checks in for the first time and subsequently picks up the personal. And that first free throw is off the mark. And the second one drops for Gary Bryant. And that's the first point of the quarter for the ex-Freedom. Patrick Brown Volta-Petty here tries to beat his man off the dribble. The 3 ball, that's off the mark, into the hands of Devontae Birdsong. He pulls up there, dumps it off. And Gary Bryant can't control the basketball. And Raja Orlando gonna try to break his man down off the dribble, use the screen from Matthew Roll. Tries the screen and roll. Brown Volta-Petty has it. Roll now in the post. Matthew Roll. The jumper can't get it to go. And the rebound into the hands of Rashad Miller, and here come the ex-Freedom. Horace Smith has it at the top of the key, utilizes that screen, but it's a moving screen by Gary Bryant, and that will be his 3rd, team's 4th. It's a little bit of foul trouble right now for the ex-Freedom as Raja Orlando off to James Evans. Trying to play a little 2-man game right here as Raja Orlando looking for some help on the perimeter. He finds his man in Chris Colvin, who's in the game for the first time. Colvin there on the wing. Back out to James Evans with a stretch big, knock it down from 3. And that's off the mark. And we're going to go back the other way. And Horace Smith in there along with Carl Bryant Jr., Devontae Birdsong, Gary Bryant, and Rashad Miller for the ex-Freedom. Dumps it off there to Gary Bryant Jr. Loses control of the dribble. Nice trapping defense here by the Gold. Trying to force a 5 seconds. Nice job there by Ambrosini getting in on the defense. And it looks like they're going to put the 10 seconds on the shot clock as they're not giving them the full amount. 8:10 on the game clock, 42-11. South Florida Gold here in quarter number 2. And there'll be 10 seconds here for the ex-Freedom. Horace Smith has it in the backcourt. He needs to go. He only has 5 seconds. He's going to need to shoot this basketball. Horace Smith, I don't know if he realizes the shot clock's running down. And the ex-Freedom with a mental lapse right there, not realizing the shot clock violation. As they thought the shot clock reset, it did not. As we tick under 8 minutes here in the second quarter. And Raja Orlando to James Evans, tries the high-low with Matthew Roll. Roll down low, goes up strong. And we're going the other way. And Matthew Roll will pick up the foul. That will be his first, team's first. And a series of substitutions coming in the game right now. 4 players will enter the game. Kenny Holmes, Chuck McRoy, Dennis Rumpf, and Taven Cummings will join Chris Cromartie in the ball game. So a mass substitution here for head coach J.R. Gamble as he looks to put the foot on the gas a little bit more here in the second quarter. There's a deep ball off the mark from Carl Bryant Jr. Offensive rebound by Rashad Miller. Into the hands here of Gary Bryant. Touches many parts of the rim. Can't get it to go. And here comes Chris Cromartie the other way. Cromartie crosses the timeline. Dumps it off to McRoy. Chuck McRoy goes up strong. And McRoy with the finger roll gets his first points of the 2018-2019 regular season. Took him nearly a quarter and a half, but McRoy is in the scoring column. A volume scorer for the South Florida Gold last season. And the ex-Freedom will bring in a couple of substitutions here. Carl Bryant Sr. and Gary Tropp will enter the ball game. For Rashad Miller. And Gary Bryant. And it looks like some confusion right now, and I believe we have a timeout on the floor. 7:05 to go here in the second quarter. South Florida Gold 46, ex-Freedom 11. We'll be back in just a second with more second quarter action here on YouTube.
That's what happens when you only get 30 minutes. volleyball.
Derek, I told him about that. Oh, you could pay the rent. I said,
And we are back here at Trinity Christian Academy in Lake Worth, Florida, the home opener to tip off the 2018-19 season for the South Florida Gold against the Ex-Freedom. As a shot attempt there by the Ex-Freedom off the mark, Dennis Rump with the rebound. And here we go the other way, Kenny Holmes, the starting point guard out of Decatur, Georgia, played at Southern Wesleyan University for the South Florida Gold. Dumps it off to Chris Cromartie. He's played internationally in France as well as Finland. Dennis Rump to Chuck McRoy, back to Chris Cromartie. He tries his three, and Cromartie from way downtown. Cromartie's first field goal of the season. He has 5, and the lead is up to 38. Off the mark right there, Cromartie gets the rebound. We're going the other way. Chris Cromartie loses control, and the Ex-Freedom have it right now. Horace Smith with the dribble. He tries to take it to the cup. Off to Carl Bryant Sr., and Sr. with a bucket. And Carl Bryant Sr. puts his first 2 points on the board. And they now have 13, cutting the lead here to 36. 6:05 to go on the clock. As there's a 2-pointer from Holmes. .22 for him. And the basket, I do believe, will be good. Carl Bryant Jr., that's going to be a foul on Kenny Holmes, his first, team's second. And Carl Bryant Jr. will look to complete the 3-point play. He's off the mark. McRoy with the defensive rebound. 5:50 to go now in this second quarter. Holmes dumps it to Cromartie in the post. He tries to go baseline, and he will be bumped by Horace Smith, who picks up his first personal. That's the 5th on the team. Cromartie will inbound it from the baseline. Finds Chuck McRoy. McRoy on the wing. Hands it off to Cromartie for 3, and Chris Cromartie is off the mark there. But nobody boxes out Kenny Holmes. Holmes can't get the bucket. And that's an over the back on Chuck McRoy, his first, team's third. Offensive foul right there on the South Florida Gold, and the Ex-Freedom will try to get something going on the offensive end here. Horace Smith from way downtown. The southpaw can't get it to go. Tipped around into the hands of Cromartie. The baseball pass, and Taven Cummings can't corral it, and that's a turnover for the Gold. Crosses the timeline is Carl Bryant Jr. He goes up strong. Unorthodox take right there. Can't get it. As Taven Cummings tries and ends up being the last man to touch it, and it will stay right here. Seems to be some confusion right now whether the shot clock should reset rather, but I do believe it will stay on 15. As you see Horace Smith shouting that out right now to his teammates as this ball will be inbounded on the baseline to Horace Smith. He has it on the wing. Man-to-man defense flash by the Gold. Greg Trop has it. Tries to post up. Dumps it off to Birdsong. He can't get it to go. And we're going the other way. As that's going to be on Birdsong, his first, team 6th. Dennis Rump in the post. Rump goes up strong. And Dennis Rump with an incredibly athletic play. And Rumpf will try to complete the three-point play. And he will. Little full court pressure here applied by the Gold. 4.5 to go in this first half. Horace Smith, the dribble drive up strong, and Horace Smith, his first bucket, as he looks to complete the three-point play. As Rumpf will pick up his first personal. That's 4 on the Gold here in quarter number 2. Excuse me, that's going to be the 5th for the Gold. As Horace Smith will look to complete this three-point play, and he's off the mark. Chuck McRoy with the defensive rebound. And here we go for 3. Off the mark there by Bryant Jr. And the rebound's in the hands of the Gold. And Chris Cromartie off to Rumpf from way downtown. Rumpf can't get it to go. Into the hands of Trop. This ball's out of bounds and 3:52 to go. And there's a 3 ball in the corner. That would have been for 4. The tip can't go by Rumpf. Tipped out of bounds again, and it will stay right here. 3:45 on the game clock, 18 on the shot clock. The 3D light is indeed still on. The lead is 41. And that's a foul on Chuck McRoy. He needs to be careful he doesn't get a technical. As this one's going the other direction here, X-Freedom looks to cut into the lead a bit here. As Birdsong leads the way with 8 points. He crossed the timeline, hucks it up. Wild shot, and he's going to be fouled. It looks like Taven Cummings will pull his third. That's going to be the team's 7th, so it's going to be in the bonus. Now for the X-Freedom. And the first one is good for Birdsong. He's a free throw away from double figures here. And the second one is good as well for Devontae Birdsong. He paces the way with 10 for the X-Freedom. McRoy, there's the dump off. Holmes, the jumper. And Kenny Holmes adds to his total. He has 24 now. Leading the way for the South Florida Gold. And there's the jumper right there for Horace Smith. And Horace Smith has 2 more. As Cromartie, the up and under, can't get it to go, but Dennis Rumpf cleaning up the garbage there. Nice job on the glass by Dennis Rumpf. He now has 5. Ball tipped around here. And that's going to be on Telfort. That's his first, team 8th. And a 1-and-1 situation will be coming for the South Florida Gold with 2:54 to go in this first half. And the West Palm Beach native, Dennis Rumpf, will step to the line for the 1-and-1. Rumpf knocks down the first. And Rumpf off the mark there on the second. And the X-Freedom now going to try to get something going on the offensive end. The little floater, no good for Horace Smith, who's picked up the offensive pace in recent minutes. Cromartie crosses the timeline, 2:40 to go in the second quarter. Cromartie creates some space Dumps it off to McRoy, a little give and go. Dumps it off to Rumpf, can't get it. Rumpf gets his own rebound. Tries to control it, up strong, can't get it. Cromartie's got it, and finally, Chris Cromartie finishes. He has 7, his first 2-pointer of the game. And the Gold now have 60. Carl Bryant Jr. in the corner, can't get it. The rebound to Cummings. Taven Cummings dumps it off. Kenny Holmes, the up and under. And Holmes finishes for 2, looking for the 3-point play. And for the first time, Brandon Williams, the 6'8" forward out of West Palm Beach, Florida, will check into the ball game. For Dennis Rumpf, and Holmes connects again as he is on fire in this first half. 27 points leading the way. We're under 2 minutes to go. And a nice job by Brandon Williams to pull that rebound down with authority. The ex-Freedom here set to make some substitutions. Taven Cummings from way downtown. Bang! And Taven Cummings knocks down another triple. And Chris Cromartie there picks up the cheapie. He bumps him. That's his first, team 8th. As a pair of substitutions here, Gary Bryant and Rashad Miller into the ball game for Greg Trop. Or excuse me, for Carl Bryant Sr. Technical foul applied here to the ex-Freedom as they had 6 players on the court. 92 seconds to go in the first half. Certainly not what you wanted to see if you are the ex-Freedom. As Chris Cromartie will shoot the free throw. As Cromartie inching closer to double figures, he now has 8. Make that 9. And it looks like we have some confusion amongst the officials here as the ex-Freedom were set to inbound the basketball. And now they will after a brief delay as Gary Bryant has it at the top of the key. He's pressured by Chris Colvin. Nice job by Colvin to take a swipe at it there, but right back into the hands of Gary Bryant, and he gets the bucket. Holmes to Colvin. Back to Holmes from way downtown. Off the mark. And Birdsong can't corral it and will stay right here with 1:11 on the clock. .71 seconds to go in this first half. Chuck McRoy for 3.
Yeah, Brandon.
Off the mark. Brandon Williams, a nice offensive rebound. Chris Cromartie will try the 3 ball. And Cromartie moves into double figures with that silky smooth 3. And the lead's extended even further for the South Florida Gold as we tick under 1 minute to go here in the first half. The dribble drive attempt. Nice take. And Brandon Williams sends them packing. Horace Smith, nobody home right there. Not in Brandon Williams' house. Nice perimeter defense here by Brandon Williams coming in to give some energy minutes to the South Florida Gold. Here we go the other way. Kenny Holmes, the dribble drive, dumps it off. Brandon Williams with the lay-in. Nice two-way basketball by Brandon Williams in the final minute of the second quarter. Extending the lead here, 21 seconds on the clock. Goes up strong. McRoy gets a piece of it. The outlet pass, nicely done as Cromartie goes up strong. There's the lay-in for Cromartie. As Chris Cromartie puts that in. And a layup. And here we go, Colvin won't try it. And that will bring us to the end of the first half. After 2 quarters of play in the 2018-2019 season, the South Florida Gold are on fire. Your score, South Florida Gold 76, Ex-Freedom 21. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with second half action as you are watching South Florida Gold ABA basketball right here on YouTube.
All right. Who do you
And we are back here at Trinity Christian Academy in Lake Worth, Florida, home opener of the 2018-2019 ABA season for the South Florida Gold. And they are off and running as Matthew Roll, starting the second half, picks up the bucket as they extend the lead to 54 over the X-Freedom. As there's a quick turnover there. And it looks like it's not going to be a turnover, as the referee on the far side says that was tipped out of bounds by the South Florida Gold. James Evans, along with Kenny Holmes, Chris Cromartie, Taven Cummings, and Matthew Roll will start this second half for the Gold, as there's a nice basket right there by number 11, Gary Bryant. That's his second field goal of the game. As James Evans there has it in the corner. Cromartie dumps it down low. Matthew Roll tries to turn around. That's off the mark, tipped out of bounds. And it will stay right here. 8 seconds on the shot clock. And it looks like the shot clock will indeed reset as the ball hits the rim, as Kenny Holmes once again looking to continue to pace the Gold, as he has 27 points. In this first half, Chris Cromartie, the shot fake, the dribble drive, dumps it off into the hands of Roll. Back off to Holmes. Holmes takes it up strong, and he won't get it to go, but he'll have an opportunity for 2 free throws. As that will be on Carl Bryant Jr., his second, team's first. And the free throw off the mark there for Kenny Holmes. And that one will be good. And there's a deep three. Can there by the X-Freedom. That's going to be Carl Bryant Jr. And the X-Freedom here with a 50-point deficit cross the timeline. Horace Smith dumps it off to Carl Bryant Jr. And from the wing, Bryant Jr. off the mark and into the hands of Devontae Birdsong. Birdsong, the dribble drive, dumps it off. Might have gotten a piece of it to James Evans. Tipped around into the hands of James Evans. And look at the lengthy forward here, 6'8". Bring it up the court. There's Holmes in the corner. Kaboom! Kenny Holmes, 31 points now. Leading the way for the South Florida Gold. As we're ticking under 10 minutes to go here in this third quarter. Nice rebound by Matthew Roll. And here we go in transition. Cromartie shuffles his feet before he's able to hand it off. Nice idea by Cromartie. Not the best execution. As Bryant Jr. tries to dribble drive, he's tripped up. And that will be a personal on Matthew Roll, his second, team's first. As the X-Freedom will try to get something going here in the second half. It's going to be a long mountain to climb if they want to get back into this game, but whoa! And the double block right there by Evans and Roll. And here we go, Holmes in transition, finds Cromartie. Tries to go right back to him, a little miscommunication and out of bounds going the other way. $9:15 on the game clock here in the third quarter. There's a pull-up three for Horace Smith, that's off the mark. And James Evans tips it out of bounds, or actually goes out of bounds before he touches it, so it will be Gold basketball. And Cromartie here brings it across the timeline, looks to call a play. He has Kenny Holmes, as well as Taven Cummings. Matthew Roll, the stretch big, tries the high-low with James Evans. And they call there on Personal foul on number 19, Rashad Miller, his second, team second. And Cromartie, the inbound there to roll. The give and go to Cromartie, who's in the post. Dumps it off, and James Evans with the lay-in. As James Evans now has a quiet 8 points for the South Florida Gold, as everyone seems to be contributing here on opening night. There's the dump off in the painted area. He's got to be careful as Rashad Miller doesn't get called for 3 seconds, and he will get called for 3 seconds. And Cromartie and Holmes in the backcourt. Once again, Evans and Roll in the front court, and on the wing, Taven Cummings. And that will be a foul on Gary Bryant. That's his fourth. Team's third. As Cummings there. The inbound to Cromartie at the top of the key. Dumps it off from way downtown. Kenny Holmes. Can't get it to go. Roll gets bumped trying the rebound. It might have been his own teammate. There we go in the corner. Horace Smith can't get the 3 ball as the southpaw hits the front rim. Kenny Holmes tries the dribble drive, and Kenny Holmes continues to contribute now with 33. There's a shot in the corner. No good. James Evans has it. Here we go. The numbers game. Cromartie. The alley-oop. Throw it down. Taven Cummings. There's the dunk and the timeout with 7:30 on the clock here in quarter number 3. The ex-Freedom need a break. The Gold lead it 88-29. And we're going to take a quick break. You are watching South Florida Gold opening night ABA action right here on YouTube.
You need 7 minutes over with. I'm done.
So we are back here, Lake Worth, Florida. Opening night of the 2018-2019 regular season for the South Florida Gold. Once again, I am Blake Chadwick on the call, and I will be here all season long calling the home games for the Gold. Cromartie there. The help D in the corner, but it's Carl Bryant Jr., his second triple of the quarter. He's got 8 now. The second leading scorer now for the ex-Freedom as they cross the 30-point plateau. As we're closing in on the midpoint of this third quarter. Nice give and go as Cummings tries to throw down off the alley-oop from McRoy. Can't get it as he's a little too strong there. And the ex-Freedom. There's a shot in the corner. That's off the mark for Greg Trop. Rebounded here into the hands of Chris Cromartie across the timeline. Beautiful pass. The up and under from Raja Orlando. Can't get it to go. And the 5'10 guard out of the Freeport, Bahamas. Can't finish. Goes up strong. Does Birdsong. He can't get it. Bryant Jr. from way downtown. That's off the mark. Into the hands of Trop again. Birdsong in the corner. He's off the mark. McRoy's got it. The outlet pass to Chris Cromartie, and Chris Cromartie has it. On the wing, Cromartie from way downtown. He misses. Trop the rebound. And here we go the other way. Carl Bryant Jr., the dump off to Horace Smith. Tipped around, and it will stay right here. And here's a substitution for the Gold. Chris Colvin, the 6'3 guard out of Chicago, Illinois, checks back in for Chris Cromartie. The lead is 56 here in Lake Worth. Gets a piece of it, does Rumpf. And Orlando's got it. The numbers game for the gold. Colvin back off to Orlando. Back to Colvin. From three. Can't get it. And the rebound now. McRoy, the up and under. Front rims it, but McRoy gets his own rebound, and Chuck McRoy, who's been quiet tonight, only contributing 4 points for the gold. But they get to 90. There's a shot in the corner for three. Off the mark. The offensive rebound, the floater. And it's good from Horace Smith, as Horace Smith now has 7. As Cummings pulls it back out as the gold look to get into an offensive set. Rumph, McRoy, Cummings, Orlando. And there's the lay-in by Cummings. And also Colvin is in there as well, but it does not matter. 16 for Cummings, the 6'6" forward out of Memphis. And a timeout is called by Horace Smith, 5:04 on the clock. And the lead for the South Florida Gold, 92-34. We're going to take a quick break, 30-second timeout. We'll stick right here in Lake Worth here in the third quarter.
That was immediate. That was immediate time. So you won't give it to them. We got 2 left. Right? And they have the fourth quarter media time. And that'll leave them with 1.
As the ball's inbounded here by the ex-Freedom, and quickly we're going the other way. Under 5 minutes to go now in this third quarter. The lead is 58. There's the give and go. Dennis Rumph down low, and the three-point play opportunity will be on its way. Nice job by Dennis Rumph. As Carl Bryant Sr. will pick up his second. That's team's 4th. The lead is 60, and Rumph will try to make it 61. He front rims it, tipped around. Into the hands here of the ex-Freedom. Horace Smith has it. Smith has it on the wing. Tries to find Trayvon Telford in the corner, and that's off the mark. Rumph in the corner for three is Colvin. Kaboom! Chris Colvin into the scoring column. And the former Arizona State Sun Devil knocks down the triple. The dribble drive. Finds Smith here in the corner. Smith with the floater. Back rims it. McRoy the defensive rebound. Into the hands of Raja Orlando. They've got numbers. The dribble drive. But Orlando shuffles his feet before he's able to dump the ball off. Unfortunate turnover there for the South Florida Gold. Referee, or rather Coach J.R. Gamble trying to explain what's going on. The substitutions will be forced to wait. There's the pass there to Birdsong. Birdsong tries to take it in. Dumps it off to Horace Smith. Smith tries to cut through the lane. Stolen by Cummings. He's got no one around him. Cummings, the windmill. He can't get it to go, but the offensive rebound, and Raja Orlando picks up his 4th and 5th points.
Yeah, you might be right, Gary.
Great defense there by Chris Colvin with the pressure. And the ball goes out of bounds. It's South Florida Gold basketball. Orlando from way downtown. Off the mark, into the hands of Cummings. He tries the triple. The southpaw's off the mark. Once again into the hands of Orlando. Back to Cummings, into the hands of Colvin. Tipped around. It's stolen by Horace Smith. Horace Smith tries the up and under. Nice job by Chuck McRoy to disrupt that ball. As Taven Cummings will be fouled by Horace Smith. That's going to be his 2nd. Team's 5th. And the substitutions here coming in, Gary Bryant as well as Carl Bryant Jr. into the game. For Carl Bryant Sr. and Horace Smith. The inbound here, 2:50 on the clock. As Colvin has it on the wing. Colvin, way downtown. Off the mark, rebounded by the ex-Freedom. And a nice take by Devontae Birdsong, who now has a dozen, leading the way for the ex-Freedom. Orlando finds Brown Voltepetty in the corner. McRoy has it in the post. Chuck McRoy, the turnaround. Off the mark, nice rebound by Orlando. Finds the cutting Colvin. Colvin the up and under. And Chris Colvin, his first two-pointer of the game. He has 5. And the South Florida Gold reach triple digits. Telford, he's trapped. And James Smith with the steal. Like the defensive back, reading the quarterback. And Smith, or rather Evans, throws it down. And James Evans now has 10. And the lead's extended now to 67. And here we go, Telford there on the wing. He's pressured by Orlando. And Telford, wild shot.
Go ball. He started with it. No shot clock though, right?
So the ex-Freedom now have the basketball on the baseline. 13 on the shot clock, 1:30 on the game clock. There's the inbound. Pass in the corner. Birdsong, the dribble drive. Birdsong passes it back out. A bit hesitant to shoot. There's Bryant Jr. from way deep. That's off the mark. Nice deep offensive rebound. Tips it around to Trayvon Telfort. And the shot clock violation. Telfort will get the triple. We'll get credit for it. That was 3. Lori. So it's South Florida Gold basketball. 1:13 on the clock here in the third quarter. 103-39. Yes, you see that score correctly. 103-39. Chris Colvin, Raja Orlando, Chuck McRoy, James Evans, and Patrick Brown Voltepetty. The 5 here for the Gold to close out this third quarter. There's the pass attempt to Voltepetty, picked by Bryant Jr. We're under a minute to go. And James Evans goes to swat it away. And that will be Evans' first personal, team's second. 53.9 to go. And Gary Bryant, who has 5 points already tonight, will step to the line for 2. And Bryant makes the first. He now has 6. Off the mark on the second. And McRoy there with the rebound, passes it in to Raja Orlando. 45 to go on the game clock. Dumps it down, James Evans in the post. They double him down there. Back out Orlando from way downtown. Kaboom! And Raja Orlando. He now has 8. 30 seconds to go. The lead is 66. Birdsong trapped. Bryant Jr. pulls it back. That's off the mark. Into the hands of Evans. 20 to go. Passes it off to Orlando. He crossed the timeline. 16 seconds. Back to James Evans. Passes it back. Chris Colvin for 3! And McRoy tips it. They call the offensive goaltending. 5.4 on the clock. As we're having a discussion here amongst the officials, whether this is a 3, a 2, or nothing. Colvin will get credit for the 3 ball. So 5.4 to go. Looks like the X-Freedom a little confused about what just went down.
Good job, Pat. That's good job, Pat. 1 second. Match up. Match up.
It's going to be a foul on Brown Voltapetti. That's his first, team's third. 1.4 seconds to go. That will be enough time for the X-Freedom to take a shot. The inbound there. Birdsong for 3. Off the mark, and at the conclusion of 3 quarters, the South Florida Gold lead it 109-40. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with the 4th quarter as you are watching South Florida Gold ABA action right here on YouTube. As we are back here at Trinity Christian Academy in Lake Worth, Florida, Matthew Roll goes up strong, and he'll be bumped by Greg Trott. That's his 3rd. And quickly, the X-Freedom pick up their first team foul 1 second into this 4th quarter. And Matthew Roll, who has 5 points in his Gold debut, off the mark on the first one. Roll, a 6'7" stretch big out of Miami Gardens, Florida, played collegiately at Florida Memorial University. Looking to contribute here at a high level all season long. He's 1 of 2 there, as he now has 6. And the X-Freedom looking to make something here in this 4th quarter and salvage this ball game. Carl Bryant Jr. for 3. That's his 3rd triple. Now he has 11. And along with Devontae Birdsong and his 12, they are pacing the X-Freedom. Roll. Tries the runner there. Takes it right in the center of the lane. And that's going to be on Trop. That's his 4th now. And Roll will go right back to the line for 2. Roll connects there. Did he make the first? And Roll connects on both. There's a 3 ball. That's off the mark. Rebounded by Evans. Goes up strong, taking it to go, and they're going to call the foul on Roll. That's going to be his third, team's first. Unfortunate there for Matthew Roll. There's the inbound. And Horace Smith steps on the baseline. All right, they're going to call travel. Thought he said he stepped on the baseline, but nonetheless, it is Gold basketball going the other direction. 10:45 on the game clock. Puts it down low to Roll. And Roll goes up strong, and he's going to be blocked. And the 3D light is on. A turnover there against the X-Freedom. Now the Gold will try to capitalize. As there's the pass to Evans. And he can't get it. That would have been good for 3. Into the hands of Raja Orlando. In there with Chris Colvin, Patrick Brown, Voltapetti, Matthew Roll, and James Evans. There's a little bit of a clock violation here. Dumps it down there to James Evans. Evans goes baseline, tries to go up strong, and he's fouled before the bucket. That will be on the baseline. That will be on Rashad Miller, his third, team's third. And checking into the game, Brandon Ambrosini for Patrick Brown, Voltapetti. Ambrosini passes it off for 3. Raja Orlando off the mark, but Ambrosini gets it on the offensive glass. Roll's got it. Colvin tries to find a man down low in the form of Raja Orlando. Can't get it to go. As we tick under 10 minutes to go. As the ball's out of bounds, and it's going to be South Florida Gold basketball here, under 10 minutes to go in this ball game. Matthew Roll in the corner for 3. Kaboom! And Matthew Roll with 11 points now. And a tie-up situation. And we have a substitution here coming in. Trayvon Telford into the ball game for the X-Freedom, and Brandon Williams, the energetic forward, back into the game for the Gold for James Evans. .9:34 to go. Carl Bryant Jr. pressured by Chris Colvin. And Colvin picks up his first. That will be team second. And that one is good from Bryant Jr., as he now has a dozen. And that free throw gives him the team lead of 13 points now, to pass Devontae Birdsong's 12. As Roll goes up, can't get it to go, but he will be fouled. As Telford picks up his second, the team picks up their 4th of the 4th. And the first one off the mark for Roll. And Roll gets the second. The X-Freedom here, trying to salvage something in this fourth quarter. Telford from way deep tries to bank it in, rebounded by Ambrosini. In transition, here we go. Raja Orlando off the glass, can't get it. Telford pulls down the defensive board. Here we go back the other way. Carl Bryant Jr. for 3. And Carl Bryant Jr., who has heated up there in the second half, leading the way with 16. Back out. Ambrosini. There's Roll. Dumps it down. Ambrosini now can't get the lay-in. Colvin fights hard. He can't pull it down. Horace Smith in transition. 8:25 on the game clock. Back out to Bryant Jr. as Horace Smith and Carl Bryant Jr. trying to get something going on the perimeter. Telford has it down low, passes off to Birdsong. And a traveling violation against Rashad Miller. As here we go right now. Raja Orlando, the backup point guard, trying to get it going. As Ambrosini can't control that. Brandon Ambrosini once again, the Miami, Florida native from Florida National University. Trying to get something going here today. Nice trapping defense here by the Gold. And that's going to be on the floor here against Ambrosini, his second, team's third. And the X-Freedom will inbound it here. Birdsong tries the up and under, and he's going to be bumped. And that's going to be on Roll. That's his fourth. Team's fourth. And Birdsong will step to the line. Birdsong came out in this game, put a couple of buckets up for the X-Freedom. But it quickly got away from him and the rest of this club. And Birdsong will knock them both down as they get to the 50-point plateau. And the lead is 66 for the South Florida Gold. The high-low there to Roll. He has it in the high post from about 15. And Matthew Roll, the stretch big, knocks down another jumper. As he has 14 in this ball game. There's a three-point attempt by Bryant Jr. off the mark. Here we go in transition. Ambrosini dumps it off. Matthew Roll can't get the dunk. Goes back up strong, and he'll get it this time. And that's going to be on Gary Bryant. That's his fifth. Team's fifth. And Roll will knock down the extra free throw as we're at the 6:50 mark here of this fourth quarter. And a block on Matthew Roll as he picks up his fifth, team's fifth. As Patrick Brown Voltapetti, and for the first time in this game, as there's Birdsong, connects on another deuce. As we're approaching the halfway point here of this fourth quarter. Brown Voltapetti trying to break down the defender off the dribble. Pulls it back. And Brown Voltapetti trying to play some one-on-one here. Into the hands of Brandon Williams. Ambrosini's got to let it go. Ambrosini in and out. Into the hands of Birdsong. And Birdsong with the floater, can't get it to go. Colvin the defensive rebound. We're halfway through this fourth quarter. Dumps it off there. And there's going to be the foul on Horace Smith, his third, team sixth. As Roscoe Savage, who checks into the game for the first time tonight, knocks it down. And Savage, the 5'9" guard who played at Butler as well as Westmoreland College. Telfort way off the mark for three, into the hands of Brandon Williams. And here come the Gold. Colvin. He'll spot up for three. That's off the mark, tipped around into the hands of Birdsong. Birdsong kicks it back out. And Bryant Jr., he'll can another triple. And it looks like Patrick Brown Voltepetti's banged up a bit, and he's going to need to come out of this game. And Chuck McRoy will come in for the injured player. So Savage, McRoy, Ambrosini, Colvin, and Williams. Are the five for the Gold. With 5.5 minutes to go. McRoy, as Brandon Williams tries to get deep, and he's going to be fouled. And that's going to be a foul on Gary Bryant. That's his 6th. That's 6 fouls on Gary Bryant. And Brandon Williams now at the free throw line. And he's off the mark on the first, and a substitution coming in, Rashad Miller. For Devontae Birdsong. And the second one off the mark as well. Ambrosini with the offensive rebound. Finds McRoy into the corner. Savage from way deep. And Roscoe Savage getting in on the fun. As the ex-Freedom here backs firmly against the wall. And they call the foul on Brandon Williams. That's his first, team 6th. It's off the mark there. The rebound by Brandon Williams. Ambrosini in the corner. Colvin back to Ambrosini. Chuck McRoy for three. McRoy can't get it to go. Tipped around. Brandon Williams goes up strong. He misses. And Ambrosini once again with the offensive board. Brandon Ambrosini. Really an impressive performance here as he's really trying to make a statement. The up and under from Brandon Williams, that's good. Telfort lets it fly. And that's his second triple of the game. Ambrosini for three. And Brandon Ambrosini knocks it down. And there's the reach in on Colvin. That's his second. Team 7th. And with 4:06 to go in the fourth quarter, we're going to take a timeout on the floor. South Florida Gold 132 in a rout over the ex-Freedom with 58 points. We'll be back with the completion of this fourth quarter. You are watching ABA South Florida Gold basketball right here on YouTube. As Carl Bryant Jr. will step to the line here. Will knock it down. And Brandon Ambrosini tries to play some one-on-one here. He's in the corner for three. And the whole bench nearly comes unglued. Under 4 minutes to go. Birdsong tries the bucket. He can't get it. And that one's going to be on Roscoe Savage. And Devontae Birdsong at the line here, trying to add to his totals. And that is good. As Ambrosini to McRoy, and McRoy gets fouled. And they're going to call the foul here. Looks like it's going to be on Birdsong, his second. Team's eighth. And with 3:37 to go, McRoy will step to the charity stripe for two. Knocks down the first. And will knock down the second. McRoy very quiet tonight. 6 points in a starting effort. With the 6'8" forward out of North Florida will provide a huge spark as this season wears on. There's a three ball from Carl Bryant Jr., who's really stepped up in the second half. Unfortunately, it's all been for naught. As Ambrosini goes baseline, knocked out of bounds. 15 on the shot clock. Ambrosini, the inbound there to McRoy. McRoy on the wing. McRoy tries to break down the defender off the dribble, the pullback for three. He can't get it to go, and Brandon Williams crashes the offensive glass. He picks up his 5th and 6 points. And Bryant Jr. will pick up his 3rd. And Brandon Williams will try to make it 7. That's off the mark. Rebound in the hands of Bryant Jr. Off to Birdsong in the corner. And Birdsong buries the three, and you have to give it to Devontae Birdsong and Carl Bryant Jr. They have not backed down. They have led the way. 20 points for Birdsong. And there's 3 for Colvin. Off the 3D light. And McRoy with the steal. McRoy gonna go up strong. The lay-in can't get it, but Williams crashes the glass. And Brandon Williams with the three-pointer off the 3D light. Carl Bryant Jr. for 3. He can't get it. Birdsong the offensive rebound and putback. As the offensive pace picking up here in the final 2 minutes. Ambrosini, the pullback from deep. No good. Tipped around. Roscoe Savage can't corral it. And that ball will go out of bounds. 74-point lead right now for the South Florida Gold in this home opener. As right now, the ex-Freedom throws it up, can't get it to go. Colvin, the defensive rebound. They have numbers, and Colvin will take it himself. And Chris Colvin now, a very impressive 13 points in this ball game. The 3D light is on. 92 seconds to go. McRoy, the alley-oop. Brandon Williams can't finish, as that would have been good for 3. The 3D light continues to stay on here. We're under 80 seconds to go in this ball game. The Gold will indeed move to 1-0 in the 2018-2019 season. There's Colvin for 4. And Colvin now with 15. And the lead is 80. Three light is on. And that's going to be a bump on Rashad Miller. That's his 4th. Team's 10th in the double bonus now. As 3 shots for Chris Colvin. He's got 18. There's 19. And Chris Colvin, the 6'3" guard from Chicago, Illinois, playing collegiately in Division I Arizona State Sun Devils. Coming off the bench. Can't get it, but McRoy, the offensive rebound for 3, can't get it to go. And eventually in the hands of Carl Bryant Jr., he pulls up. Bryant Jr. knocks down another 3 as we are under a minute to play in this ball game. There's the lob up. Williams can't get it to go. McRoy, the offensive rebound, and Chuck McRoy getting in on some more of the fun as he has 8 now. Bryant Jr. from deep. McRoy will get the defensive rebound. 30 seconds. Look at the full court length. Savage.
What you swinging, brother?
And it looks like we're going to call this one right here. 154-73 is your final in Lake Worth at Trinity Christian Academy. An incredible opener for the South Florida Gold here in the 2018-2019 season. Certainly check out South Florida Gold action on YouTube as well as social media to find out the latest updates on the South Florida Gold. We will be back in action coming up here very, very soon for our second home game of the season. So on behalf of the South Florida Gold, once again, I am Blake Chadwick, and your final, 154-73, and we'll see you next time with South Florida Gold ABA action.
Testing, testing, testing. They got McDowell Pat, man.
Doing the work today, boy.
It's man, that's my goal.
I got an interview, folks.
Well, I didn't really know what we're doing.
played the 3, they didn't play the 4.
That's
Hey,
crazy.
Matt, you know that shirt you're wearing?
Yeah.
That was my enforcer's number the first 3 years. So
Oh, really?
you're pretty good.
That's
That's
six.
probably
That
why
was
You're
Six's
holding it
number.
down.
Six, that
Lavoisier,
name sound
6.
familiar.
Yeah.
Oh, you know six.
That was our big
You
guy.
could've got 15 more.
Yeah, that's it.
That name sounds
I don't care.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what he
care.
said.
You
He
always
goes,
get
he's
that.
holding it down pretty good.
Hey, I got it right now.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's no need
But-
for it. Right, that's what I'm telling him.
No,
He trying to tell me I could have had 15. I didn't need 15 more. Man.
no.
We're good.
With me, it's always getting
Yeah,
better.
yeah, exactly.
Always
Climb
getting
the ladder.
better. I see when I see. One less dribble, shot off. I'm watching the details.
He's younger.
Hey, I'm the baby boy. You been watching Elijah? Everybody was like, "Where did you get those moves from?"
Hey, go ahead. Go ahead.
But what happened on the turn that way?
When I went in the middle,
Instead of turning, you had him here, and then you turned this way when after you had done this.
I'm in love with my left hand. That's all. I like to go to my left and shoot over my.
No.
Yeah.
I no. Boom. If you went boom, then bam. You had 3 shots.
Yeah, I love it. But I did take you a 30
Oh, was it nice or what?
Yeah.
Was it, and you know what your pace was when they ran off you? And you wide open. Bam. They not ready for that.
Hey,
let him do his interview, man.
That's it, baby.
You got your mic on? Say testing real quick.
Testing.
Okay. Go center court. Yeah, it's on. I don't know how much points or nothing I had. No. Any.
All right, post-game here at Trinity Christian Academy. It was an incredible tip-off for the South Florida Gold, 154-73 victory over the Ex-Freedom. And I'm standing here with forward Matthew Roll. Matthew, 20 points tonight coming off the bench, a huge contributor, playing that stretch big. How did you help factor into this game and contribute to the team's victory?
Energy. My job is to come off the bench with energy and to provide that lift off the bench and just feed off that. My teammates going to find me. They did a good job of that.
And, of course, you guys got like James Evans. He goes down low, traditionally gets those rebounds. You pull out a little bit, knock down those jumpers. How do you feel like your energy and your size is going to factor into this team as the season wears on, along with forwards like Chuck McRoy and Dennis Rumpf as well?
Exactly. It's going to move forward very smooth. We're just getting to know one another. We're going to move forward in a positive way. We're going to learn each other, tendencies and know each other's spots, and we're going to feel more comfortable. Tonight was a big test for us, and we was able to, find each other in spots that we like.
The South Florida Gold last year finished 3rd in the ABA season. Obviously, a lot of higher expectations this year, shooting for the #1 spot. You personally, what are you looking for out of the 2018-2019 as a member of the South Florida Gold?
To get better than last year. Everything last year we accomplished. We want to come back here with the chip on our shoulder and have goals for ourselves that we want individually and as a team to achieve one common goal, and that's a championship.
So Matthew Roll, just a big piece of the puzzle here for the South Florida Gold. A statement victory, 154-73, knocking off the Ex-Freedom in the home opener. Look for Matt, along with those 20 points, to help contribute to another successful season right here for the South Florida Gold. Good work.
Thanks,
Thank you. Good game.
Alright, bro, take it easy, man. No? Alright, bro. G, I'm gonna call you, bro. Alright. Okay. Up here or down here? Check.
We just heard from Matthew Roll. Now I'm here with Kenny Holmes. A huge game tonight, 33 points. Big contribution tonight, starting for the South Florida Gold. Your first game with the team, along with Chris Cromartie in the backcourt. How did it feel tonight?
No, I feel great, man. You know, season came back around. We got back on the groove of it, you know, getting up and down, getting adjusted to all these players out here because, you know, we have like 4 returners. So just getting used to everybody, how their tendencies, things they like to do. So it was good getting out here, getting the sweat on, and definitely getting the win. So that was always a plus.
Not necessarily a rebuild, but more of a retool this season for the South Florida Gold. How do you feel like you're going to be able to factor in on this team mixed in with some of those veterans as well as some of these newcomers?
Well, really, my job is getting everybody else involved. You know, my talent allows me to do what I need to do, but my most important job is getting my teammates involved, making sure that they get their shots off and they're happy, because when they're happy, they'll help me out with screens, with coming off ball screens, coming off ball screens, so things like that. So as long as we stay on the defensive end, offense will be no problem.
And you talked about being that distributor, that facilitator at the guard spot along with Chris Cromartie. What types of decisions, what's your game plan? Because both of you can score as well. Obviously tonight you filling it up with 33. How do you know when to stop? How do you know when to pass? How do you know when to kind of put your foot on the gas a little bit and take that team to the next level?
See, with that, I give all my credit to Chris Cromartie, because, you know, with him, I'm allowed to play off the ball. And him being an older player, he tells me things that I can watch for in practice, things in the game where I can see, I can make advantage of, and I can get my players involved, because he's great with dishing the ball out as well. So I just go off him, and he comes off me, and we just make it happen together. So we both use each other perfectly.
Absolutely. We've seen those games where Cromartie can go for 50, or the games where he might score single digits, but ends up distributing and having the team go to victory.
Right.
Again, the South Florida Gold, big season last year, finished 3rd in the ABA. What are you looking for this season on the ABA schedule and your role with the South Florida Gold?
Well, the sky's the limit, man. We have so much talent on here. We actually can be 10 deep, if you ask me, if everybody stays focused. But that's what I'm saying. The sky's the limit. So we can go as far as the championship if we stay focused, stay locked in, don't let any distractions come in, and we'll have no problem.
You talked about staying focused. You talked about being locked in. What gives you the victor's edge? If you want to turn around and show everybody that great shooting shirt you have on right there, our sponsor there, the Victor's Edge, what gives you the edge when it comes to the competition, not just in the ABA, but in everything that you do?
We go hard in practice. Well, I go hard in practice. So I feel like once we go hard off the court in practice, once game time comes, it's easy, you know, and we're just having fun, and that's what we did today. We got the win, had fun, and now we're going on and focus on next week.
Absolutely. The South Florida Gold, they practice like they play, and that's why they're one of the top teams in the ABA. Look out for them to dominate the Southeast yet again and possibly come away with that #1 spot here in the ABA. It was a great opening night here against the Ex-Freedom, 154-73. Stay tuned for more South Florida Gold action right here on YouTube.
Sir. Thanks, man.
All right, good work, man. Good game.
Appreciate it. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Do you need all this to stop? Oh, is this okay? We're going just right here. He'll frame us.
Mic check, mic check, mic check.
Good night. Thank you.
Check, check, mic, mic.
And we close out tonight's festivities with the new man in charge, Coach J.R. Gamble. Certainly an incredible debut here for you with the South Florida Gold, 154-73, knocking off the Ex-Freedom. How did you feel coming into tonight? Obviously, probably a little bit of jitters maybe, first game out here. How do you feel right now after this big win?
I feel pretty good. I told the guys 3 things. Let's go out and play as hard as we can, have as much fun as we can, and let's stay together. So I think they did that. Expected not to be perfect, right? We expected to have some miscues here in their first game.
Certainly.
But I was proud of their effort, proud of their communication, and their unselfishness. The ball moved, we shared it, and so we had some great success tonight.
Certainly could see that on the court. Definitely looked a little bit different than the last year South Florida Gold team that we saw. Taking a look at the roster last year, the guys you've inherited, the guys you've brought in, with your philosophy, how do you expect to mix that in with the players that you have?
Well, we teach little things make a big difference. Defensive effort, sometimes guys can get so talented that they forget to do little things.
Little things, yeah.
And so I'm a little guy, in terms of making sure that we complete little assignments that make a big difference throughout the whole game. And these guys have allowed me to come in and readjust how we think when we play, what we're thinking about when we play. From day one, the thought has been championship, nothing else. So we're not championship ready today, but the goal is to get there, one day. And so all the little things matter.
Certainly, and you take a look at the South Florida Gold. Traditionally, they've been up and down team, very offensive-minded. How do you expect that to play out this year? Are we going to see the same type of team, or are we going to see a different type of squad underneath your tutelage?
Well, what I hope is that we would maintain offensive efficiency, but really become a team that really defends very well as we play on offense. And that takes some time to get guys to buy in.
Sure.
But that's my goal, to get us to defend as hard as we play on the offensive end of the floor.
Absolutely. The old adage, defense wins championships. And, Coach, taking a look at the team, taking a look at the ABA season, what do you have in mind for the team? What are some of the things you're looking forward to as the season wears on?
I'm looking for growth. I'm looking forward to seeing guys develop, not just on the offensive end, but in terms of chemistry as well. I mean, these guys are talented, but talent doesn't win championships alone. We got to grow together, and we've got to figure out some rotations and things like that. But I'll tell you what, tonight was a great sign that they're listening, they're hearing, and they're ready to try to implement as much as possible.
One thing the South Florida Gold has never suffered in, and that is depth. And that was on full display tonight. Very interested to see how Coach J.R. Gamble is able to mix those guys in, how those rotations are able to come about. We've got a long season ahead of us, a lot of big expectations. He says he's a nuanced guy. Let's see if those nuances can go from third, maybe to first, and an ABA championship. A lot left to come, and certainly a big season ahead for the South Florida Gold in the ABA. Thanks, Coach. Good work tonight.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.